So I found this wildly titled Dead by Daylight video. It's titled Dead by Daylight is the worst video game. What a statement, dude. I don't even know if I'd go that far. Dead by Daylight pisses me off a lot, right? Like behavior, they have some questionable decisions when it comes to a lot of things, but calling Dead by Daylight the worst video game ever, dude, that's crazy. So I gotta check this one out. Let's switch over to reacting real quick. Oh.
Games are my favorite type of media. A good video game is a true work of art. There are the obvious things that are art, like visual, story, and music, but good game design is also a form of art. I love seeing how different games handle similar genres, like the differences in stealthing across a rooftop in Dishonored to the social stealth of Hitman, the different co-op mechanics in games like Resident Evil 5 and Deep Rock Galactic, the many different horror games where in one I can be scared by a microwave with him. He fucking touched the microwave.
Bro, I love Phasmophobia. That game is hilarious.
There's a beep. And the other is an
Scary
endless
shit,
clip
too.
narrator.
Homemade flashbang.
I love making builds in RPGs, and hell, even BTD 6 is an unironically amazing strategy game. There are so many amazing video games that are fantastic works of art. So why, oh fucking why, do so many people play this piece of shit?
Licensed chapters, my brother. That's why. I really feel like Dead by Daylight would have like half the player count, if not more, if it wasn't for licensed chapters. Like, let's be completely real. Licensed chapters have kept this game alive for as long as it's been alive. I feel like I don't even feel like a lot of people would have tuned into it if it wasn't for the Halloween chapter. Maybe that's rough to say. I don't know. The gameplay loop is there with like all the different perks and shit, but I feel like if it wouldn't have had that hype from the Halloween chapter, it wouldn't have grew. And I feel like the hype wouldn't continue to grow or wouldn't have continued to grow without licensed chapters.
I should clarify what I mean by Dead by Daylight is the worst video game I have played. Yes, Unity Asset Flip Phasmo Clone number 87 is a worse video game than DBD, but what I mean is the worst game that I've truly spent a substantial amount of time playing that is actually popular. There is so much horrible garbage in this game, I don't even know where to start. I guess I could start with my background with the game. I started playing in late 2017, and although I haven't actively played the game ever since, I have kept up with the game for basically every update. The last time I actually really played the game was during the release of Singularity, and I just haven't played the game ever since. I just never felt like it was worth playing.
That's about where I'm at.
According to the community, I am a new player, and my opinion is worthless, and everything said in this video should be disregarded because clearly I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I'm in top MMR, according to that.
If it takes hundreds of hours to graduate from new player to mid, then your game is poorly designed, and that includes you two. Get out of here. This video isn't about you. Top MMR at 1200 hours? Bullshit. I 4K almost every game as killer, and then I eventually just get that.
Yeah, I've been 4King in Dead by Daylight since I was like 50 hours in. Right? I don't feel like that's a stretch or anything. I was Iridescent 1 back before skill-based matchmaking. I was Iridescent 1 like within 100 hours of playing the game. Not even 100 hours, dude. I was Iridescent 1 within like 40 hours of playing the game, 50 hours, if that, bro. I don't know, if that. And like based on that, even like coming back to it like every 6 months to like a year, I very consistently get back to the top ranks, like top MMR now, I guess, like very quickly if I'm consistently playing, obviously.
Full game with 4 sweat
which is about all I play now.
If it only takes 3 games to reach top MMR, then what the hell is everyone else doing for 800 hours? But there's no way matchmaking is broken at such a fundamental level, right? Right?
Yes.
Foreshadowing is a literary device in which let's tackle the issues with this game in the order they come up when booting up the game and queuing for a match. Although it is here now, I should note it took them 7 years to add the option to turn off VSync and add frame limit options. Every time I launch the game, it starts in windowed mode, so I have to set it
We've
to full
talked about
screen,
that.
then wait for it to load.
So many
Then set it
small
to the
problems
actual
that kill this
resolution of my
fucking
monitor,
game.
Then wait for it to load. Then I have to crank up the FPS values and resolution scale. Oh, because I restarted the game, I reset it back to like shit graphics because it's really good.
Yep.
Oh, including
including
FPS. Oh, it doesn't update because it's on fucking windowed full screen. For some reason, doesn't apply. Thing, and then I press full screen, and for some reason, windowed full screen is only 1080p, even though I have a 2K monitor. So I have to wait 5 seconds for it to fully load. So then I can change it to you, and there we go. And yeah, and still, I then need to go and do. Why do I have to do this every time I launch?
I've never had that
This
problem.
game has
I can
so
say
many
that. I've never had
unquality
that
of life
problem
features.
with
Quality
Dead
of
by
pain,
Daylight.
if you will.
It's
There
never
should-
like
isn't an
continuously
FOV
reset
slider.
my
And I know
settings.
they said they were going to add it, but it should have been here on launch, and it still isn't here now. It shouldn't be that hard to add this kind of basic functionality. There are perks that can change your FOV during a match, so it shouldn't take more than an hour to add an FOV slider because this code is already in the game. But here we are at year 8, still without one. Well, now let's try to actually get into a game. Mathematically, you're more likely to be a Survivor player, as the game requires 4 times as many Survivor players than Killer players. So let's look at Survivor. If you're a new player to DBD, quite simply, you're fucked. The game is a horrible grind fest.
Oh my god. Someone else who agrees, dude. I had so many people in my reaction video to the new player experience in Dead by Daylight, a great video by another dude. I had so many people in that comment section and so many people in the short that I made for the video saying that Dead by Daylight wasn't pay to win. Like, it wasn't. And it's like, how can you say that, dude? It is literally pay to win with some of the perks. Like, yeah, you can make some pretty good builds now with some of the base perks, but they have updated those perks. They have made those perks better. And I think it is objectively true that you can make a better build for most of the killers through paid perks. Like, the paid builds will always be better for most of the killers. I think that's just objectively true.
Let's talk about the perks in Bloodweb. As a new player, the perks you have access to are all shit. Especially now that the Stranger Things perks are no longer free for everyone. Survivor has like 2 good uncommon
When
perks,
the Stranger
but they're
Things
not
perks were
designed
there
for
for
new
everybody,
players.
yeah, it was pretty
A good
good.
example is Resilience. It's a great perk, but not good for new players who aren't comfortable staying injured. To
Still
unlock
sick,
other
sorry.
perks, you have to level up the character that has them. The good thing about this is you don't have to play that character, but you still need to play a lot to unlock enough points to
The grind,
get
dude,
perks.
on Survivor.
And then, after that, you still have to spend even more points to level up those perks on the character you're playing. I don't know why perk levels haven't been removed. It's just another quality of pain feature to force you
Oh
to
my
grind
god,
more.
for real. I feel like I'm pausing like every few seconds because he is just nailing it. Why are perk levels a thing still in Dead by Daylight with like as many perks as they have? How many fucking perks are in Dead by Daylight right now? Perk count, DBD. Let's see. There are currently 276 perks. 261 perks for Survivor. I don't know if that's accurate. It seems accurate. Yeah, I mean, that sounds accurate, right? So, like, why are there still 3 tiers? Now, they made it better, right, with being able to, once you hit Prestige 1 with a character like that, the level 1 perk goes to all the other characters you have, Survivor and Killer, right, on both sides of the spectrum. But that made it so much better, because before you had to literally Prestige 3 that character to get the level 3 perk on all of your characters. It was atrocious, and it was like that for years, dude, for years. But why are perk levels even still a thing in general? Like, the amount of grind that you already have in the game for everything else is substantial enough to keep the gameplay cycle alive. Like, we don't still need 3 different perk tiers. I mean, at least it could be lowered to 2, bro. Like, for real.
Leveling up in the Bloodweb is very tedious, especially as a new player, because for some reason the auto level button isn't unlocked until you prestige that character. I swear, the devs realized they were going to have an actual good update with the Bloodweb rework, so they had to figure out a way to fuck it up before they released it. They've said they will eventually add the ability to auto level without needing prestige, but that is coming in 5 to 6 months? This is already in the game. It takes them half a year to let you use a feature that's already in the game. These devs have no idea what they're
Is that
doing.
even
They're
still?
so
Is that
slow.
even in the game
So new
yet? This
players
video is like a
would
year
look up
old.
guides or whatever to see who they should level to get good perks. The answer: spend money to unlock the DLC characters that have the best power crept perks in the game, because the game is pay to win. Alternatively, you could play around 200 games to get enough shards to buy one character. That's about 50 hours of gameplay.
That was
Even
another
then, a
thing
lot of
that
the
people
characters
were
with the
like
best perks are
constantly
licensed, so you
telling me,
have to
right?
spend money to get them.
That was another thing that people were constantly telling me in that comment section, that like, oh, well, for most of the characters, except for the licensed chapters, for most of the original chapters, you can just save up your shards and buy them. Like, yeah, if you put like 50 to 100 hours into the game, sure, you can buy one character, dude. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you really think that's an alternative? I wish if someone in this comment section wants to do the math on how long it would take to unlock every character, killer and survivor, that can be unlocked with shards, how long it would take to actually do that based on the amount of shards you get when you level up. I would love to see that math, because it's probably more time than anyone has in this game, period.
It's so stupid. People defend this. Oh, but the Shrine of Secrets, I hear the fanboys saying. You think the shrine does anything? Fun history lesson. Back in the day, barbecue and chili was the best perk for killers in the entire game. Not because it had a super strong effect, although the aura reading was nice. The real reason why this was the best perk in the game was because it gave you double blood points.
I still don't understand why they took that
was one
away.
that reduced the grind and didn't affect the actual gameplay at all. Quick addendum because I fucked up and read the script wrong. We're Gonna Live Forever does nothing, but it doubles blood points for Survivor. Barbecue and Chili still does something. But these were still the best perks in the game for both sides, not because of their actual effects, but because they reduced the grind. And do you know how many times this perk that comes from a licensed character has appeared in the shrine before it got nerfed? Twice ever. Many perks, including licensed perks, have yet to show up in the shrine ever. The shrine is a joke, and even if it was an always active shop where you could just buy any perk, I bet you the devs would pull some bullshit out of their ass and say they can't legally allow licensed perks to be always available because this game relies on pay-to-win DLC and overpriced cosmetics. Yeah, let's get cosmetics out of the way too. Those 50 hours you worked for those 9k shards, instead of spending that on a character, you could buy an outfit. Although, many outfits cost more than 9,000 shards. And a lot of outfits can only be obtained by spending real money.
Yeah.
You want to play as Chris Redfield, the icon of the Resident Evil series? Well, not only do you have to buy Leon, who's $5, but you also have to buy the $20 bundle of premium currency just to buy the skin. I fucking despise Fortnite for popularizing this price range, but at least Fortnite is free to play. That's an excuse that is fine. And it isn't as bad as, say, Call of Duty, which has $30.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah, they're charging $30
that's always been like
skin.
my major problem with DBD and the way that they have their economy set up when it comes to buying things. My major problem has always been the fact that it's not a free-to-play game, and it never has been. You've always had to pay $30 for the game unless you have Game Pass on Xbox. That's my thing with how they price their skins. Like, their skins are like, some of them are like $10, or most of them are like $10 if you actually pay for them. Like the good ones, not just like the recolors, but like the actual good skins, most of them are like $10, dude. And it's not a free game. The new DLCs aren't free. You're paying for literally every single one of them. So I just don't understand why everything on the game is so expensive. Like, I understand you need to make money to keep the game alive because it's a live service game. Basically, it's a paid live service game. It's a live service game with half of the content, or like 1/3 of the content that other live service games have. It's ridiculous, dude.
Bundle in a game that costs $70 that should have just been a free patch. If your argument for defending the skin prices is, it's what's normal in the industry now, then you need to stop giving these companies your money. You have become complacent and are allowing these companies to milk your wallet. Instead of buying this overpriced garbage, you should buy games that actually deserve your money, like indie games. Also, the devs blatantly admitted to using scummy marketing tactics and have doubled down on just being evil. They say they don't want to give free cosmetics for actually leveling up and playing the game, even though that's how you should unlock skins.
Okay, I was actually around for this, I think, but I want to read it again because I forgot. So we'll read it out loud. Can we possibly see a reworked devotion system? Are there plans to add more prestige rewards? What is the possibility of getting other miscellaneous player-specific cosmetics? Can we pretty please with sugar on top get a legendary M. Cote skin for Dwight? That would actually be really cool, right? And Dead by Daylight's response was, on prestige at least, that's always been a tough choice. It'd be really cool to have a fancy reward for hitting P100, but at the same time, that's an insane amount of progress and we don't want people to feel like they're missing out by not hitting it, bro.
Skins because some people will feel like they're missing out, despite the fact that the behavior implements FOMO in many skins, like all the event skins. Event skins are only around for a limited amount of time, and other skins like the Stranger Things and the Attack on Titan skins were pulled, so it's possible other licenses will
Yeah,
be
I'm
pulled in the
pissed I
future
didn't
one
get
day.
those Attack on Titan skins.
When confronted with this hypocrisy, they said, "We don't want to clog up the..."
Okay, you guys claimed last Ask Me Anything that a dislike of FOMO is the reason why you didn't have prestige rewards past P9, but that doesn't exactly make sense for two reasons. People are free to prestige in their own time. It's not like their levels are going anywhere, and you already have actual limited time content in the game twice a year with the Halloween and winter events, to the point where cosmetics that have been accessible at any time for years have now been locked behind the window of a few weeks. Why claim FOMO as a reason why you are hesitant to add more rewards for dedicated players when there's already substantial amounts of limited content already in the game? Answer: prestige and limited time content are significantly different for us, in the sense that the prestige option should always be there for players, whereas the limited content is almost always linked to seasonal events such as Anniversary, Halloween, Bone Chill, etc., which again ties back to us not wanting to clog up the inventory/store view for players when the relative season is not active. That is even more reason as to why you should give prestige rewards. Prestige is something players can always attain year-round. It's an achievable goal attainable from just playing your game. Answer 2, we appreciate player passion with regards to prestige rewards. No promises, but we will kick off the discussion internally to see if something is achievable and keep you updated as to when/if this changes. Bullshit. No, you won't. You're not going to kick off that discussion internally. If you were going to, it would have happened by now. This video came out like 11 months ago, dude. So if it was going to happen, it would happen by now. But you know what's happening right now? The Bone Chill event. You know what's happening right now? The Christmas skins, right? Like where you're getting limited time Christmas skins that you're not going to be able to get after the event ends. That's what's happening right now. And this video was 11 months ago, dude. Like, come on.
The inventory screen with more options. And they said they have no plans to add free skins that would show players' dedication. And they're not going to add free cosmetics because they can't charge $20 for the P100 skins if you unlock them by hitting P100. They only care about making money, not showing players' dedication, because that doesn't give them free money. But let's get back to playing Survivor. Let's just say I find a match and I want to know what's going on. First of all, the people you'll get matched with as a new player will not be other new players. They will all have a bunch of maxed out perks because the matchmaking doesn't work. I have this old classic screenshot from ye olden days where my first ever game of Old Freddy, I ran into 2 rank 1s. Even though it has gotten better, it still isn't good at all. After not playing for around a year, I played 4 games of Killer. The first lobby had baby streamers who were shit at the game and gave up immediately, and were calling me a scumbag for doing such evil actions like downing them. My second game was a lot more enjoyable. The survivors were actually pretty good.
That's
but
the most toxic
I was still able to
shit,
outsmart
bro.
them and get some good Wesker bounds off. They weren't taking it too seriously, and it was actually enjoyable. This game can be fun if you don't uber sweat, but no one knows how to do that. Then the third game, I was super rusty as Blights. I haven't played in a very long time, and I also got a really shit map, and I got 4 survivors.
I hate
that
that
were really
map.
good.
That's
But I
another
still got
example of a
7 bucks,
thousand
even though I didn't get any
death by
kills.
1,000
I could
cuts.
have played
Like,
sweatier in the
why
end
does
game and
Blight still
secured a kill,
interact the
but
way he
I just
does
don't like face camping.
on this map?
But because I played well, the MMR went nuclear and put me in P100 lobbies. And then after I lost 1 game, my MMR went all the way down to the bottom, and I got babies who had no idea what they were doing. In that 4th game against those babies, I decided to be evil and continue the cycle of violence and run Compound 33 and Adrenaline Vial against people that didn't deserve it. This matchmaking just does not work. I want to make it clear that matchmaking experiences like this are not the experience of just one new player. I have many friends with thousands and thousands of hours in this game, and they help me create the script, including their experiences with the horrible matchmaking. You have just a few normal games, then you eventually get that one unwinnable game, then you get babies, and then the cycle repeats. The nuclear matchmaking doesn't just happen to me, it happens to everyone I have talked about this video and this game, and they have all corroborated that they have very, very similar experiences. As Survivor, you only ever get useless teammates, and I highly recommend dodging every single Meg and Fang you see. The more basic bitch the cosmetics, the worse they are. But let's go back to trying to find a match as Survivor. Well, let's say I want to see what my teammates are running. The only information I have is what type of item they are bringing. All versions of the same item type look the same, and there should really be different models for the different tiers of items. Not only can I not see what items my teammates are bringing and their add-ons, but I can't see their perks at all. I can't see a...
Again, new player experience, we talked about it in that video. Why, in God's name, can you not see what perks your teammates are running? What items, add-ons, and perks? Why the hell can you not do that? That is the dumbest shit.
Someone's running Deliverance, or Chase-focused builds, or Generator-focused builds, I don't know anything.
That,
Despite the fact
in
that
general, would help the
fucking
solo
DBD
survivor
Mobile
experience.
has this feature, it's
Hands
not in
down.
the base game. They said they were going to add this feature to the main game over the next years? How long does it take them to add basic functionality that should have been there years previously? Oh my god, it's so bad. Okay, now we load into a game, and we get a bad map because all the maps in this game are bad, and I only ever get fucking Larry's or Midwich. They brought back Hawkins, which is a bad thing, as now there's an even less likely chance of getting a fun map. There's like maybe 2 maps in this game that are good. But now that we're in, I will describe Survivor gameplay. In the theoretical perfect Survivor game, you hold mouse 1 for 90 seconds 5 times. Sorry, that's not right. They
Dude,
have
this
a
guy
toggle
is just
option,
nailing
so now what you do is
point
you press
after
mouse
point.
1 and then tab out for 90 seconds, and then repeat that 5 times. The main objective...
I was full on expecting to come into this video, like, completely disagreeing, because look at the title. Dead by Daylight is the worst video game. The worst video game that this dude has played. So, like, the worst video game ever. I expected to come into this video being like, it's not that bad, dude. You're being dramatic. But everything he is talking about, we have talked about within the past 2 weeks. In the Survivor's Boring video, and the New Player Experience Sucks video, and the I Can't Believe This Is Still a Thing in DBD video, we have talked about all of this. I fully expected to come into this video, like, being like, nah, bro, it's not that bad. But, like, this dude has just nailed every point that he has been making. Like, hands down. It's honestly kind of crazy.
Is you sit there and do nothing. Skill checks are the only thing preventing the objective for being objectively terrible game design, as there's technically something there. You're technically doing something, but skill checks are so easy and are only ever hard if the killer's bringing something like impossible skill check doc. I can react fast enough to
I'm a
tap
casual
back into the game
skill check
to hit a
messer,
skill check.
not gonna lie.
But as we all know, the actual gameplay of Survivor comes from interacting with the killer. And I fucking hate it. Holding W isn't fun, and if I want to play a fast running game, I would play something like Mirror's Edge or Dying Light. Looping is lame,
Yeah.
and I just don't find it fun, especially with so many killers being designed
It's
with
just so
anti-loop.
basic, right?
The game used to be about mind games, but now it's more like flowcharts. The best designed killers,
Yeah.
Billy, Blight, and Wesker,
It's so basic.
have variants.
Like, that's the problem with it. Like, yeah, there's some enjoyment to be found with, like, looping the killer and shit like that, but it's so, on a fundamental level, basic. You're literally just running around an obstacle and timing, like, when you're supposed to throw down a pallet, right? It's just so basic on a fundamental level, but there is still fun to be had in it. There's just no depth to it, in my opinion. Yeah, there's obviously, like, optimal paths, optimal pathing, optimal loops, shit like that. That kind of depth, but like on a gameplay design level, and not, I'm not talking like an accidental gameplay design level of how they accidentally design their loops to be better than the others, because I really don't think that's intentional with how they design everything else. I really don't think that the better loops were like intentional. On a fundamental like gameplay design basis, it's just so basic and lacking depth.
Of a dash attack. The only fun killers are the ones with movement abilities, and that's because the gameplay is lame and going fast is fun. These fast attacks do have anti-loop potential and are actually skill-based instead of the flowchart game design of killers like Artist, Dredge, Knight, and Skull Merchant, where you put down thing and loop, and now you have to leave the loop. Wow, a game design. I know people do enjoy Survivor, the idea of outsmarting and outmaneuvering a physically stronger opponent, but I just find the gameplay to be so boring and unrewarding. I can loop a killer for over half the game, die, but still make sure all my other teammates got out, but that game counts as a loss according to the devs, even though I played better than all my teammates. And it's all because I was tunneled, because the killer saw I was good, and I died. I have played maybe 20 to 30 games of solo queue Survivor ever, because Survivor is just so lame and boring, and I only ever play it to play with friends. And at that point, why would I play DBD? Any game is fun with friends, and I'd rather play a game I actually enjoy over a smelly pile of doo-doo water. So that's half the game, arguably 4/5 of the game. That is just downright shit. What about Killer? Well, I can say that I have actually enjoyed my time playing Killer.
Yeah, Killer's always fun,
Kind
dude,
of.
for the most part.
Sometimes, occasionally, maybe a little...
That's spot on.
No, not really. Killer has many ups that make it enjoyable, but the boat just sinks with the amount of
On a
downs
level of
piled
bad
in
and
the
not
cargo
fun to
bay.
play, Killer is a
never,
little bit
ever
more fun
really
to play.
proactive,
Right?
only
Well, it's a lot more fun
reactionary,
to play.
as you have to react to survivors making mistakes, and then you capitalize on them. You rarely ever
You have so
initiate
much
anything
more to
yourself.
do, I
I'm supposed
guess.
to feel like
That's
an
the thing.
unstoppable slasher, not a loser with a sharp stick that gets bullied by children. The main problem I have with Killer is the lack of variety. Now on paper there is a bunch of variety. Over 30 killers, hundreds of perks. You'd think that there's endless potential here. Well, maybe only 10% of the perks are good, and half the killers are just weak and boring.
Yeah.
And then there are the other killers that are fucking way too strong. Now is a good time to talk about balance, and how this game has none. As that is my only real complaint with Killer. The gameplay is fine, but
Facts.
very repetitive. The real problem is the horrible balance. The difference in power between a no add-on Trapper and Compound 33 Blight is so vast it eclipses your mom. The devs have no concept of balance. They don't even play their own game. They thought the initial versions of perks like Decisive Strike, Object of Obsession, Medal of Man, Circle of Healing, Made for This, Hex Undying, and Ultimate Weapon were fine to release. They thought that the buffs to the perks Overcharge and Eruption were fine in patch 6.1.0. They never playtest anything. Things like the first ever Ghostface PTB Scavenger.
It's the same thing with fighting games, right? Less so with like better fighting games like Street Fighter and Tekken, right? But like Mortal Kombat, it's like, bro, do you even play your own fucking video game at a decent level, right? But it's like, do you even have like 2 or 3 good developers on your team, like people who are like as good as some of the higher ranked players in the game, like, or when you're developing, or at least like a live service like this past when the game comes out, right? Because it's hard to judge before the game comes out, right? It really is. But like once the game comes out, it's been out for like 6 to 8 months, right? You should have developers on your team, on your balancing team, who are at least near as good as some of the best players in the game, or else you just have horrible balancing. And maybe that's an unrealistic expectation, but I feel like it's as unrealistic in the other direction to have what feels like the devs that we have right now who play this game zero, you know, look at what some of the top players or some of the popular content creators are saying, take it as verbatim and make these wild, drastic, sweeping changes, right? I don't know, dude.
Old Legion and Skull Merchant show they have literally no QA testing and don't think at all before they release. But the most egregious example of balance is the add-ons. Look at the changes to Brand New Port, an item that has never been fairly balanced in the history of the game's life. An add-on that just allows you to skip a large chunk of generator progress will never be balanced. Things like Iridescent Head will never be fun as long as it just gives you free incidents. Pinky Finger will always be boring if it allows Clown to just have a loaded gun. But the worst example of add-on balance is the disparity between the killers. Nemesis is a great example. And I'm not talking about that one time they buffed a brown add-on to be an objective upgrade to a yellow add-on. By the way, that was hilarious. The devs just actually did my boy so dirty, they just forgot about him. Why can't he go into a full sprint and use a rocket launcher? But I'm talking about add-ons as a whole. Nemesis has a grand total of 2 good add-ons. One of
He
them is
really
purple,
does, dude.
and it should be a green
His
or maybe even
add-ons,
a
same
yellow.
with Pyramid Head, bro. Pyramid
The other
Head's add-ons
is
suck
Marvin's
ass.
Blood, and it's the only add-on that affects your power in any way noticeable. So what do the devs do? They nerfed Nemesis as one somewhat mediocre add-on. Why? Because they only look at statistics. They saw that this add-on had a very high usage rate, not because it was particularly amazing or overpowered, but because it was literally the only add-on worth running. There are other examples of the devs nerfing based on pick rate alone. Remember that time they tried to nerf Billy's engraving add-ons? These add-ons aren't OP or anything. They're arguably bad because they make the chainsaw take longer to charge. But they just have really high pick rates because people like them because they're fun. Blight, however, all of his add-ons are fucking insane. So they all get used. So the devs
I think Blight
are
actually got
properly
nerfed
balanced
since
because
this
they have
video, though.
a bit more even pick rates, despite the fact that Alkaring, Compound 33, Adrenaline Vial, and all the speed
See, I
add-ons
don't even know
are
what's
just
going on
way
with Thrill of the
better
Hunt. I
than
haven't looked into it. I
almost
heard
all
about it,
other
but I haven't
Taylor's
looked into what
add-ons.
happened there.
They have not nerfed Blight's add-ons
The
at all,
3-gen
despite
meta,
the fact
yeah.
they are way overtuned. Compound 33
They don't play their own
has
fucking
two
game, dude.
very strong upsides with no downsides, despite the fact that a lot of other iridescents have downsides even
I
if
think
their
that got
upsides aren't
nerfed.
super great. I should also note that add-on rarity is meaningless. You have basically infinite of every add-on, and you can bring the strongest stuff basically every game and never run out, especially if you're a long-time player. Just another thing that fucks over only new players. Even if you run out of the stupid stuff on one character, you can just play a different character and bring OP shit on them to farm up blood points to spend on your main, and get even more Compound 33s to extend your 1000 win streak even longer by just bringing the instant win add-on every game. They ruined one of the best designed killers in this game by giving them overpowered add-ons. And like I said before, they had to find a way to fuck up because they were actually going to have a good update. Well, the actual way they fucked up Blight on release was all of the bugs. This is the most buggy game I have ever played. Every update introduces some insane new bug to something completely unrelated to the changes. The most recent example of this is somehow Huntress's hatchets are thrown at a different angle now, despite Huntress not being changed at all. Did you know
I
this
missed
game is
that.
made
What
with
the
basically
fuck?
block coding? The spaghetti code is so tangled, I'm surprised they can keep adding more to this dish without having the bowl explode in their face. Well, it's gotten close a few times. The Binding of Kin chapter was infamous for costing money. This was the worst the game has ever been in terms of bugs, but every other update Pinhead gets broken, the audio never works as intended, at least one thing is always kill switched because of some game-breaking bug. This is unacceptable. Every major patch, something gets broken. Remember when they broke female vaults not
Takes
too long ago?
way longer to cleanse
Remember
now.
getting killers stuck on your head and they just don't get to play the game anymore?
Bro,
Stupid, insane.
we talked about it in our video the other day, actually, right? Reacting to Ox's Labor of Love Award video, right? It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. Like I said in that video, everything, like, some of these things on a smaller scale, like 1 or 2, 3 or 4 of these things that are in Dead by Daylight in any other game, that's fine. But it's everything together, the hundreds of problems with the game all together combined, that is the major issue. The bugs on top of the balance, on top of not listening to the community, on top of the pay to win shit, on top of the $20 skins for a paid game. Like, it's ridiculous. It all adds up, dude.
Insane game-breaking bugs like Infinite Mending Legion, Invisible Wesker, Chainsaw Myers, Freddy getting stunned by dream pallets, released Blight POV, horrible frame drops, out-of-bound glitches, and so many others that just makes the game unplayable. I'm surprised it got as far as it did, with it being so horrible at launch.
I am too. And I will say that, like I said at the beginning of the video, while he was talking about being surprised that the game lasted so long, right? I am flabbergasted that it lasted so long, although I know the reason why. It's the licensed chapters. This game would have never gotten popular if it wasn't for the Halloween chapter. It wouldn't have stayed popular if it wasn't for all of the other licensed chapters that came into the game, right? Freddy, Leatherface, Pinhead, Chucky, all of them, all of the licensed chapters have kept this fucking game alive for as long as it has and made it popular. This is not a game that deserves to be as popular as it is, but because it is the Horror Hall of Fame, it is. I don't know, it's such a weird paradox. It's such a weird paradox. Every update is new bugs affecting old stuff. Exactly! Like, how do you add something new that fucks with something that has nothing to do with that? How do you manage, dude?
The only reason this game has gotten popular at all is because of the characters. Not the original characters, I'll get to what's wrong with them, but the licensed characters.
Bro, this is a
I've ever
banger-ass
talked to that has
video.
played DBD has confirmed that the reason they got the game in the first place was because of the licensed characters. If Myers didn't get added to this game as early as he did, this game would have died years ago. It's the same reason people play Fortnite. Not because the game is good, but because it has the funny characters from things they like. What other game can Chris Redfield fight a Xenomorph? Wait, you can do that in Fortnite. What other game can Aster Williams fight the Demogorgon? Wait, that's also in Fortnite. Where else can Leon fight
Everything's in
Goku?
Fortnite.
Okay, but seriously, this game is just a Fortnite of horror games, but without the gameplay variety that Fortnite has.
Yeah.
Both games are shit at their core, but at least Fortnite has custom community-made game modes and maps, so you don't need to play the official shit, because Battle Royale is the worst game type ever made. But that's a topic for a different video. Dead by Daylight does not have this, and even though they only recently, after 8 years, announced that they will experiment with other game types, I doubt it will be good or even work. If DBD
It was
mode-
actually good.
mode is anything
It was
to go
actually
off of,
good.
the new games will be shit,
And
and
it
the fun will
worked.
wear off after an hour.
This video is
at max.
11 months old.
But yes,
It was actually
people only
good.
play this game for the characters. They get pulled in by like
2v8 was fun.
Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Resident Evil, and Alien. But they stay because everyone who plays this game wants to bang at least one of the characters. I'm specifically talking about the original characters. Saying you want to bang Ada Wong is cheating. So much so that they even made a funny spin-off dating sim with DBD killers, but they fucking removed the not safe for work content. The entire point of the game is to have intimate relationships with the characters, but they removed the not safe for work content. They played it so safe. They appeal to the horny fans, but they don't commit enough. They make the funny haha beach dating sim game, and then they add the horny skins to the base game, but they're too scared to actually have mature elements in the mature games. There are so many borderline sexually explicit skins in this game that's trying to be scary. And a lot of the characters also
Yeah,
are just
not a lot
so
of people
lame
realize
and
that.
don't
Hag
fit.
literally has a titty
Don't
out.
get me wrong, there are a lot of cool characters like Oni and Knight, and even the original Killer Trio are all cool designs. But then you have characters like the Legion, who are a group of teenagers that killed
I actually
one
like
person.
Legion. Damn.
And then the Trickster, who is K-pop Joker, and Skull Merchant, who is
Yeah, Skull Merchant
woman,
and Trickster lame as fuck.
and seriously, half the survivors in this game could suplex the Legion. And me playing as Ash Williams is supposed to be scared of a 16-year-old
Yeah, David
with a
could literally beat the fuck out of Legion, right? Literally beat the fuck out of them, 100%. But no,
ruler.
I run fast.
This game doesn't make any fucking sense. Where was I? Right. I just finished my first game after not playing for a year. Surprisingly, the endgame chat was not super toxic. But that's because they weren't being
Surprising.
toxic in the endgame chat. The very nature of this game breeds a toxic community. The divide between killer players and survivor players creates an us versus them scenario that is unavoidable. There are great people in this community, like
Facts.
Otsdarva, Scott Jund, and Zubat. I wish other game communities had an Otsdarva. He's just so wholesome and nice, and is the polar opposite of the DBD community because he spreads positivity. I have a friend who played a lot of DBD on console, and his first ever game of DBD on PC, he played Killer and was called the N-word. That is the best example of the DBD
Sounds about
community.
right.
They are all so entitled and don't see
The
the other
DBD
side as
community
human.
is
I don't
just as
understand
bad
how
as the
people
Mortal
this
Kombat community,
toxic and bitter
which is fucking
enjoy
terrible.
playing video games when they baby rage and throw their controller when their opponent does something as vile and despicable as playing mildly optimally. There are hundreds of examples of
For Honor
entitled
was pretty
communities being
toxic.
toxic, and even the paragons of positivity like Otsdarva are not immune to the anger that this game instills in
That
everyone.
is my favorite. Bro, the wind up. The fucking... Bro. He wound that bitch up, bro. I bet that camera was hurting.
Play as nice as you want, but then you just have that one game where nothing you do matters.
He said,
and it just
"Why I
ruins your
oughta."
mood for the next couple hours. The very nature of this game creates a toxic environment, and I don't want to be part of a community that is in a constant civil war. But everything I have said in this video so far pales in comparison to what truly makes me regret every second and cent spent on this horrible product.
What? The developers. This is a banger fucking video, dude. Holy crap.
Now, Behavior is not the worst development.
No, they're not.
That award goes to Blizzard for reasons
Yes.
I don't need to say here.
Blizzard
But Behavior
Activision.
does win the award for the most incompetent dev team. This does coincide with previous statements like the poor balance and the bugs, but something that just needs emphasizing is how long it takes them to
Oh, did I accidentally skip ahead when I paused? No.
poor balance and the bugs. But something that just needs emphasizing is how long it takes them to add anything. They've said it takes them around a year to add a killer, which maybe this is just me. I think that's total bullshit, and it doesn't take that long to add something
agree.
like that. It took them 7 years to add a search bar. It took
For
them 8
real,
years
dude.
to add basic video settings. And we're still 8 years in, and we still don't have an FOV slider. The roadmaps for things they announce are things that they should add
Or
now,
brightness,
and would take
contrast,
maybe
gamma.
5 minutes changing values for, but we have to wait months for them. They have a history of making horrible, horrible decisions. Remember in patch 1.9.2, the Lunar New Year event that removed the timing of flashlight saves, removing all skill from one of the few elements of Survivor that has skill? Why did they think giving Freddy free slowdown with add-ons was a good idea? Why did they think nerfing Nemesis's one decent add-on was a good idea? I will not let that down. Nemesis is done dirty in everything he's in but his original game. He was done dirty in the remake, he's done dirty in DBD, and he was even done dirty in fucking Marvel vs. Capcom. Why does his level 3 just not? A more recent example of why the fuck did you change this to do this is
Marvel, baby.
Rework. Did they really think that this was fun and interactive gameplay? They already announced that they're gonna have to do another rework. They're so bad at doing anything. They only ever over-nerf killers and perks to the point of being useless. And the buffs they give out are rarely ever enough to make things good, unless the buff is a complete rework. In the most recent patch, they over-nerfed the Trickster rework so much from the PTB that now no one wants to play him. People used to use Ruin, so now they nerfed it, and now no one uses it, because it's shit. They just only ever over-nerf to the point of being useless.
Yeah.
But they don't nerf the things that actually need nerfs.
They have
like
no
Mayfair's
moderation.
Ultimate Weapon. These two perks have been stupidly strong since they released, and they have said they will nerf them, but these nerfs will only come months after the announcement, and the announcement was months after they should have nerfed it. These devs are so incompetent when it comes to adding and fixing content, and they're also incompetent when it comes to cheaters. The game has had a cheater problem for years, and I highly doubt the devs ever actually did anything to fix the cheating problem. I think the cheaters just got bored and stopped for a few months. The reason I say this is because they denied the very real and factually...
Chat, one of the reasons I stopped playing Dead by Daylight and stopped making content is because I got fed up with the developers in the game, right? I used to stream like almost daily when it came to this game. Now, I did quit for a lot of other personal reasons as well, but like this on top of it stressing me out to the point of like causing problems in my life, right? You literally at one point, like right when I quit, could not stream this game if you were even moderately popular because of like hackers and shit. Because if you did, the way that the game was working, they could get your IP address through the game and literally DDoS you and take your entire internet down, right? How does this even happen, right? Like, how are the hacks getting worse when behavior is saying they are implementing shit? It's crazy. It's one of the reasons I quit. You literally had to buy a good VPN just to stream this game. And even if you weren't a streamer, if you were just like high enough MMR to be like where the cheaters were and you were playing good or whatever, you got DDoSed. It's ridiculous. You remember cheaters and hackers had a literal list of streamers and creators to go after? Yeah, bro. And it probably still exists. I haven't been around, like, in depth with playing the game in a long time, so I don't know how bad cheaters still, like, are. But, dude, the whole DDoSing streamers having to play with a VPN and stream on a VPN, therefore you had to pay money for that VPN monthly, was fucking ridiculous. Actually ridiculous. And I think those streamers should have gotten compensation. The ones who couldn't afford a VPN but were still big enough to be targeted, or the ones who were just like, I am not going to spend extra money on a video game that I've already paid for because they don't know how to deal with cheaters. Like, they should have gotten compensation. It never happened to me, but I was scared of it. And I really just stopped streaming because of that. And that led to me being like, well, I don't really stream anymore. I don't really feel like making content either. And plus, it's causing a whole bunch of problems in my life right now. So fuck this shit, dude.
Proven DDoS attacks that were happening to streamers. Content creators are what keeps this game alive, and content creators have been fed up with DBD now more than ever. Funny timing, I decided to start working on this video when everyone else collectively realizes that this game is shit. But this game has so many flaws, so many things wrong with it. I don't understand how people like this game. I regret all the time and money I have spent on this worthless product, and I would refund it all if I could. The developers are so incompetent, they do not deserve the success they have been given. Nothing challenges them, so they don't try to improve and innovate on their almost decade-old game.
Bro.
If those alternate game modes they tease don't come soon, this game might hopefully finally die. Personally, I hope it does, because Dead by Daylight is the worst video game I have played.
Bro, that video slapped. To hit on his last point, right? Nothing challenges them. It's crazy, dude. Every game that comes out, asymmetrical game that comes out, dies. Every single one that has came out. Video Horror Society, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th died because of licensing issues. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I don't know why the fuck that game died. It was decent, wasn't it? I had fun playing it. I had a lot of fun playing it. I didn't play it much, but I had a lot of fun playing it, dude. And Video Horror Society, I'm not sure what happened there. I just remember like seeing like a picture of Discord and seeing someone say like constructive criticisms help games, and like one of the devs came back with, I disagree. Like, what? But no, there's no competition, dude. There's literally no competition. You know why that is? You know why? Because in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you could only play as Leatherface. And Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre licensed characters, right? Maps, same. You could only do that there. Friday the 13th, it probably still would have died if it wouldn't have died because of the licensing issues, because you could only play Friday the 13th characters. You could only play Jason. Video Horror Society, they weren't getting the licenses that DBD had. The license holders, Dead by Daylight's not going to be like, yeah, I'm cool with this literal competitor getting Michael Myers in that video game or some shit like that. The most they could have gotten that game is probably Pumpkinhead, because it fit pretty well. Or at this point, like Art the Clown. Art the Clown would have probably fit that game decently. It needed to be a lot more brutal. So like all of these games that come out as competitors to DBD are fated. They're fated to die, bro. There is no competition. There can't be, because they cannot get these licenses like Dead by Daylight has. And that will always keep Dead by Daylight alive until they run out of these license chapters that they can get in the game. And even after that, because they already have the licenses that they have, unless all of these other all of the licenses in the game decide to like make their own video games, they're going to keep these licenses. Right? And Evil Dead even made their own video game and didn't take that license away. It's crazy. Like, Dead by Daylight will always survive because of that. Killer Clowns is another one that will die. Yeah, and that's really because Killer Clowns just doesn't look that fun. I'm gonna be honest with you. That shit just don't look fun. I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space, but it just doesn't look fun. Every single one is dead or in the process of dying very quickly. I wish like Five Nights at Freddy's would release like an asymmetrical game. I wish Scott would like release an asymmetrical Five Nights at Freddy's game, because I feel like that would be the only game with the dedicated player base, like a dedicated enough player base to actually survive and compete directly with Dead by Daylight. And I feel like that property is already popular enough that they wouldn't have too hard of a time getting licenses that Dead by Daylight doesn't have, right? So we still don't have Art the Clown in Dead by Daylight, even though I think it was like 2 years ago or some shit that the producer was trying to get in touch with Behavior to put them in the game. I feel like Five Nights at Freddy's, Art the Clown instantly. They put it in the game, right? I feel like a Five Nights at Freddy's thing would be like the only thing that could compete. This was a fucking banger of a video, dude. I expected to go into this fucking video, like, I went into it with like it's not that bad, dude. Like, there's no way you're gonna like make enough like valid points to justify the title of your video. I was fucking wrong, dude. This guy hit bullseyes on every point that he made. Literally every single one. He did not miss. This man was 100 for 100 as far as accuracy goes. Bullseye on every single one. Incredible video that really lays out and details the problems in Dead by Daylight. And he was able to do this being, from I think what he said at the video, at the beginning of the video, not a very experienced player, like under 200 hours or something like that, or at least under 500 hours, right? He was able to come to these conclusions just on taking like, talking with his friends who have played a lot. He was able to come to these conclusions and write a script like this that nailed on fucking everything, dude. Banger video. Banger video. Completely justified title. Absolutely banger video. What's this dude's YouTube channel? Bob Feet, dog. Banger. Fucking banger, dude. Holy crap, dude. He made a follow-up video. Woo! Part 2.